It's Let's Talk Sex Tuesday. The kids are outside collecting rocks, which is pretty fun. And I am here today to talk to you, to ask you a very important question, which is, when was the last time you had a conversation with your vagina? Are you rolling your eyes at me right now or wondering what the F I am talking about? What I mean is, sorry, I'm just a little blown out from the window here. When was the last time you touched yourself there? Gave yourself pleasure there? When was the last time you talked to that part of your body and said, hey, what do you like? How are you doing right now? What do you need? Your vagina is your core. It's the core of your sexuality, and it mediates a lot of who you are. And your relationship to it says a lot about your relationship to your sexuality. So you can imagine your vagina either as a frenemy or a full-out enemy. You could imagine your vagina as your BFF. And the question here is really to think about what kind of relationship you have right now and whether that relationship is serving you or whether you maybe want to shift that relationship. Where did this all come from? Well, ladies, I used to be at war with my vagina, like full on, all out war. I spent an entire year at the gynos wondering what was coming out of me with constant infections and UTIs, just not knowing what the F was going on. I struggled with bacterial vaginosis. I struggled with, blanking on the word right now, but painful intercourse, and kind of this like itchy, burning, awful feeling anytime anything tried to go in there. And I spent a year blaming her, hating her, being frustrated that she wasn't on board, being frustrated that she wasn't cooperating, being frustrated that she wasn't giving me what I needed. And it took me a very long time to realize that that's not how you create dialogue with anyone. That's not how you create cooperation with anyone. And that's not how you get what you want out of or with someone, right? So I was going about it all wrong. What I needed to do instead was to stop and pause and say, hey, what are you telling me with all this stuff? What's going on? Where am I not listening to you? And how can we work together to achieve the goals of orgasm and pleasure and pain-free sex, right? So it was totally about recalibrating this relationship. Many of us are taught that, we can kind of bring our vaginas out of the closet for some momentary sex every once in a while, and then we stuff it back away. But our vaginas are really the seat of a lot of our power and a lot of our intuition, a lot of our true sense of self, right? That there's all this junk in the trunk that's circling around. And I know the more I listen to my vagina, aka my body, my intuition, whatever you want to call it, the more I make decisions that are really right for me, that are really empowering for me, that are really connected to me, and that really serve me. So what does connecting with your vagina look like, especially if you haven't done it in a while? A lot of different ideas here, but I would say the first thing, if touching it is really an uncomfortable, if touching your vagina or masturbating in any way is very much out of your comfort zone at the moment, then I would say start by connecting intellectually. And you can do this by just coming into a calm seat, somewhere that's really comfortable, or lying in your bed, imagining, a nice warm feeling in your heart, bringing it down into your vulva, just imagining like a light, white light there, or even just noticing what's there. Is it this dark, dank place? Is it this tight, constricted place? Is it this warm, fuzzy place? What do you observe? And then literally have a dialogue. You can do it in your head. You can do it out loud. You could do it by writing a letter, or like a play where you're both talking back to each other and just say, hi, vagina. I've done that before. Hey, vagina. How's it going today? And just stop and wait and see what she says. She might speak to you with vivid memories or pictures in your head. She might speak to you with sensations like pain or warmth or tingling. She might speak to you with an overwhelm of an emotion of some kind. She might speak to you in different ways. And then you could ask her, like, what do you need right now? How can I serve you? What would give you the most pleasure? And she might say like, I need water, or you really need to talk to your husband about XYZ, or I'm just feeling really sad and lonely. I miss you. We haven't talked in a long time, right? She might say a lot of different things. So you can start really kind of in an intellectual capacity just by writing a letter or kind of visualizing that part of your body and starting a literal conversation with it. Another thing that you can do is actually name your vagina. So you can name it, or you can ask her what her name is. So in that process of visualizing, or in that process of writing a letter, you could say, hey, what's your name, by the way? And she might respond really oddly. My vagina told me her name was Sheila. I don't know why, but that's what her name is. The other thing that you can do if you're feeling comfortable with some touch is either fully clothed or naked. I encourage you to put one hand on your heart, one hand on your vulva. Take some nice deep breaths, and you don't need to stimulate or anything. This is not about doing self-pleasure. This is just about bringing presence with your hand on your vulva. The other thing that you can do is imagine light or a string connecting from your heart to your vagina. I like to think of the vagina as your second heart. So really imagining those two heart spaces, and even imagining, right, your third eye, your heart space, and your vagina or vulva space, and just kind of bringing connection and awareness to those places. And again, seeing what comes up, having that same dialogue. How are you doing? What's your name? What do you want to tell me today? What do I need right now? Or maybe you could ask her about a big decision. Is this partner right for me? Maybe you're dating. What should I do about this problem? It doesn't even have to be a sexual problem. Just any problem your body might have some insight on. So those are kind of the first two steps, right? Starting with an intellectual piece and then moving to just placing your hand on your body so that you're getting kind of physical presence there. The third is to step into an actual intentional masturbation practice. And this really means masturbating without the intent of like orgasm or playing the porno reel or rubbing one out and going to sleep. It's masturbating with the intention of connecting with your vagina. I have a whole practice around this. I can definitely teach it to you. I'm taking session intakes right now if you just want to do a quickie where we meet. I talk about what's going on for you and walk through some intentional masturbation techniques. But the main idea here is basically to add the layer of masturbation to the other two steps that I mentioned. So connecting intellectually, using your hand, then engaging in a masturbation process where you're really focused on how your hand feels on your body, what pleasure looks and feels like, and to be having that dialogue while you're arousing yourself to see what kind of energy and answers you might get. So those are 3 ways that you can connect with your vagina, especially if you haven't had a conversation in a while. And those are 3 ways that you can do them. I mean, you can, put your hand on your pussy and talk to her anytime. And it's a great way to check in. You could ask her what you should eat right now. You could ask her whether you want to have sex tonight. You can ask her so many things. Getting into dialogue basically with the body is a very powerful way to tune into our needs, especially during these trying times, as we call it. Taking that guidance from your body can really support you to live more joyfully, to live more present, to live more grounded in who you are, to live more connected with your partner. And it's really the first step in my process to exploring our sexuality and the parts of ourselves that we have kind of left behind. If you want a bit more of a guided process for exploring this relationship with your vagina, I will post a link in the comments, but you can head to my website and download the Happy Me Story Mapping Guidebook. And this is a process where you sort of explore what your relationship with your vagina has been like throughout your life, what those milestones have been. You characterize what your relationship looks like today and what you want it to look like, and you start the road of awareness, creating presence, and just noticing where you're at today and if it's serving you or if you might want to move forward in a different way. So that's what I've got to say today on Let's Sex 2. Tuesday. If you've talked to your vagina recently, let me know. I'd love to hear it. And if you need some help talking to your vagina, let me know. I would love to support you. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.